And you've been in kirtan before? Kirtan. Okay, so this is kirtan type of meditation. Um, as I was explaining yesterday, there was a birthday party and we had a kirtan at Prospect Park. It was really sweet. And so this kirtan, it's described that there are 4 stages of consciousness. So you have the awake state, you have the dreaming state, and then there's deep sleep where there's continuity of the self, like it's not like you lost your consciousness after a deep sleep, but there's no awareness. It's not the self looking within and experiencing the dreams of the mind. It's a type of almost like a type of freedom. People are like, oh, I slept good. It's like, do you remember any of it? No, but it was great. So you're not aware of it. It's like a type of disconnection between the body and even like a slight disconnection of the mind. And how we usually get out of that is some kind of sound alarm clock that comes in, and we're riding our like pink fluffy dragon and marshmallow world, because some ridiculous, like there's no logic to it, like whatever's going on, it doesn't make any sense, but somehow we're totally sold into it. Somehow we're like, wait, somehow the intelligence is not there, just the mind. It's like it could make no sense, and we're like, wait, this doesn't make no sense at all. But the alarm sound comes into that world and says, hey, you got a reality you forgot all about. There's a reality that you forgot about. And what's going on here, it's actually not so important. This is not your permanent reality. So Goloka Premadana Harinama Sankirtan. This is said, this mantra of Krishna's name is like an import from the spiritual world. It comes from the higher dimension and pulls us to the 4th stage of consciousness, Turiya. So this is the 4th stage. It's a type of stage that is not, it's like that deep sleep where there's a type of peace, but it's something beyond, because there's no covering of consciousness. There's no covering of awareness. Where deep sleep, you might feel peaceful, but you have no consciousness of it. You have like after the fact, oh, I felt a little peaceful. So do a little bit, kirtan. Welcome everyone. Thank you all very much for being here. So one of our favorite people in the world is Nitai. One of the most wholesome characters you can find in New York City, or New York State, or United States, perhaps even the whole world. So we've come to hear about patience and perseverance. There was once Indian family, they went to a yogi and they said, can you tell my son, stop eating sweets? He's eating too many sweets. And so she said, yes, I can tell. He said, yeah, I can tell him. But he has to come back here in a couple weeks. And so they brought him back in a couple weeks. And the yogi said, don't eat sweets. Yeah, oh, thank you. And the mother was like, why didn't you say that 2 weeks ago? And he said, I was eating sweets. My words wouldn't have power, So Nitai is going to speak about patience and perseverance. And this is a very, very patient and perseverant personality. So give a nice welcome to Nitai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Nice to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, for that amazing kirtan. And actually, I was sitting in the back thinking I just wanted him to keep speaking. And I'll just sit here. It's okay, you know. He's speaking about different levels of consciousness and then the kirtan. And you think, why does he invite anyone else to come here? He should just speak. And then he embarrasses me by saying I'm wholesome. He's like touching right on the nerves of understanding what is not wholesome. And then he says, I am patient and perseverant. And the only reason I decided to speak on this is because he was so patient and perseverant with me, trying to get a title for this talk. It took him like 2 months. That I said, you're so patient and, persistent with me. So therefore the talk will be called Patience and Perseverance. So I'm only speaking on it because I'm hoping to develop some of these qualities myself. But by his mercy, it might become possible. So before we begin, we finish at what time? Always get confused.
We started a little late, so.
But it's okay, whatever time.
Usually 7:50, but
Okay.
8 will be the
Absolute cutoff.
guillotine.
So we'll shoot for 7:50. We don't know how patient everyone is. Okay, so I'd like to chant a few prayers, a few mantras before I begin. Just to, of course, chanting the holy name is enough, but it's nice to chant these prayers. In fact, someone was just sharing today that one of our illustrious senior devotees, one wonderful lady named Jamuna Devi, she used to speak about these prayers or mantras that I'm going to chant, and she would say that if we just chant them with a sincere heart, then Krishna will hear us and he will help us. So ever since I've heard her say that, then I thought, okay, let me try. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Zati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, and welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm sure there are so many things you could be doing on a Sunday night in Brooklyn, New York City, other than sitting in this little room next to the subway, which will keep going by every now and again. It will keep you all awake. Um, but you decided to be here. So I first would like to congratulate each and every one of you for making that decision. I'm sure it wasn't an easy one, but thank you for doing it. Because if you didn't come here, I'd be talking to the four walls. So, or maybe Nityananda. I'd be listening to him talk, actually. So we're going to discuss these two qualities, patience and perseverance. Everyone is familiar with these terms? Yeah, yes. Everyone's like, yeah, of course we got it down. So probably most of it would just be like, I already know this, I heard it, so please forgive me if I'm just repeating. But this, especially this word perseverance, I remember, I think I was in like seventh grade, eighth grade. I don't think I had made it to high school yet. So like seventh or eighth grade, and I don't know about any of you, but I was really super rebellious in my teenage years. Anyone here else? Maybe some of you are still in your teenage years, but um, and so in school I was a complete nightmare for all teachers, you know. And one teacher, she really had to go at me, and she said, "You're never going to amount to anything." And she wasn't far off actually, but and I said, "Well, why do you say that?" And she said, "Because you don't have perseverance." And I said, "Oh, how do you spell that?" Because I had no idea what it was at that time. And so I wrote it down, and I remember looking it up, and that stuck with me ever since. So every now and again, I think, "Oh, do I have perseverance? Am I able to persevere at something? Am I able to keep going with something in the face of opposition?" So, and patience is something that, it was funny, on the way here, I spoke to my wife and I said, "Oh, guess what I'm speaking on tonight?" And she said, "What?" And I said, "Patience and perseverance." And she started laughing. I said, "What are you laughing at?" And she said, "You're giving a talk about patience?" So those who are closest to us know us best, so like that. So I'm hoping to learn something. They say that when you speak, actually, it's not really that you teach others so much as you learn yourself. So I'm hoping that I'll go away from this having learned something. So please bear with me while I try to teach myself something. So first, I was just thinking of some kind of, I guess you could say, more mundane examples. Anyone knows who this personality is? Yeah, did the light bulb give it away? I mean, I was just gonna put a picture without the light bulb, and I was gonna wait to see how many people. And I thought, don't do that to them. They don't have enough patience. So yeah, so Thomas Edison. So why do you think I would put a picture of Thomas Edison here on a talk about patience and perseverance? Anyone has any idea? He didn't get it right the first time. He didn't get it right the first time. Yeah, he didn't get it right the first few times, I think, right? Something like that. Actually, um, Thomas Edison, he made this statement: "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." I don't know who here has ever had the experience of like wanting to give up, but one of our greatest books, the Bhagavad Gita, is kind of all about that, actually. Arjuna was meant to be fighting this immense war. He was confronted, and he just wanted to sort of walk away from it. He was like, "No, I think it's better if I'm into peace now." All of a sudden, he was like this great warrior. And then he was like, "Nah, now I'm going to be into peace." I'm going to protest the war and go to the forest, you know. And Krishna, he's like, "What are you talking about, you know?" You got to just get back out there and do it. And it wasn't just 1,000 times. Actually, it was 10,000 times. And he said that I haven't failed. He didn't see any of those attempts as failure. He said, I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. And it's like, when I read that, I think, at what point would I have stopped? You know, where would I have gotten stopped? And by Sheshaguru, he often heard him speak about this, like we have to, what does he say? We have to find a workaround to, what is that saying? Workaround to get around or something like that. So we just get stopped. And maybe some of us have that experience where we come up against some obstacle, whether it's external, but usually the external obstacles are just an external manifestation of an internal obstacle. And sometimes the things that we see in others that are stopping us is actually a mirror reflection of that same exact thing that's inside of us that is really what's stopping us. And it's interesting that how Krishna, how he works his magic and he makes these arrangements that we, if we don't learn, because sometimes we see, oh, I'll figure out how to get around this by ignoring it or going somewhere else or trying to escape. But actually, it's only a matter of time before you're right back up against the same thing, even in a different person or a different scenario, but you're like, wait a minute, this is exactly the same thing that I was dealing with before. Am I the only one who has that experience? No, everyone else? Okay. Whew. Thank you. So then there's this person. We don't often quote him, but I appreciated these these quotes. Swami Vivekananda. He says, infinite patience, infinite purity, and infinite perseverance are the secret of success in a good cause. And of course, I was really struck by infinite. Because for me, it's more like finite. You know, if you understand those two terms, infinite means unlimited, and finite means very limited. So for me, it's more like I have finite of these things, and he's saying we require to have infinite, which is also an interesting understanding or concept, because where does infinity, how do we understand infinity? We can understand infinity in relation to the nature of the soul, which is that the nature of the soul is that it is eternal. So the only place that infinite anything can come from is from that pure spiritual place. It can't come from anywhere else, because everything in the material world is ultimately temporary and finite. It's limited. The only thing that is actually unlimited is the soul and its connection with Krishna, with the supreme infinite. And he says, if you have infinite patience and perseverance, success is bound to come. No mistake in that. So, who here wants to be successful at something that they're doing? Everyone here has some goals, some ambition, some desire of something they'd like to accomplish. So, yeah, these qualities, it seems, again and again come up as something that are really required if we want to be successful in whatever we put our mind to. Of course, I'm inclined to try to be successful in spiritual life, but at the same time, as Lord Jesus Christ said, we are we're in the material world, but we're not of the material world. So, but we're still in the material world. So no matter how we try to look at it, we still have these kind of bodies that we have to work with. We still have this mind that we have to work with. We still have these hearts, and we still have the world around us that we have to deal with. So like that, one way or another, we are trying to be successful, but ultimate success, that's another topic. But what is that success? And then the last one, Mr. John Quincy Adams. Patience and perseverance have a magical effect before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish. I mean, wouldn't that be great? If difficulties just disappeared and obstacles in our lives just vanished? Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, anyone here We don't have to open it up too much. Anyone here facing any particular obstacles at the moment in life? Yeah, and whether they're internal or external. Actually, it seems like there's always something. As soon as you get over one thing, it's like just waiting. There's a knock at the door, and you're like ecstatic, like, yeah, I just got through this challenge, and then bang, bang, knock, knock, knock. There's another one. Is Jad Wademarge giving class upstairs today? Do you know? Huh? Oh, okay. So anyway, there's one sannyasi here. He wrote that book back there, but he said in one statement that actually in life, when things are going bad, or we're facing challenges and opposition, that's the time we should feel most happy. Because the nature of the world is that it's only a matter of time before things get good again. He said it's when they're going good that we should be worried. Because it's only a matter of time before it goes back down. So it's like that kind of, people often describe life as a roller coaster, so like that. So, patience. What do you think the definition of patience is? How would you define patience?
Accepting that it may take more time, whatever it is that you need to happen as soon as possible.
I like the way you added that. Yeah, because acceptance. Beautiful. Thank you for narrowing that down. Sutrizing. Okay, acceptance in relation to time. And the tendency is that we may want it to happen ASAP.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, but we have to be patient. Yes.
Maybe it could be like a surrendering of control of like time and anticipation, things like that.
A surrendering of control, meaning allowing something else to play out or manifest. Got you. That's great. I love that. Anyone else like to offer definition? Yeah? Michael, right? I didn't catch your name. Sorry, your name? Thomas and? Jonathan? Genesis. Amazing. Okay, what name? Tom, Genesis, and Michael. Got it.
The willingness to wait.
Okay. The willingness to wait. Okay. You guys are really sharp. I like this. This is great. So I'm going to give like the textbook definitions. The capacity to accept or tolerate. We didn't hear that word, tolerate, which is a big word in our kind of philosophy. Or tolerate delay. What we see is delay because we want it to be ASAP. Yeah, and if it's not ASAP, then there's definitely yeah. What the heck is the holdup here, right? Delay or trouble or suffering without getting angry or upset. And this is also an important point. What is the opposite of patience? What is the sign that I'm not being patient? That we usually wind up getting? Frustrated, right? I don't know if anyone here drives or like just getting the bus or getting the subway, right? Really tests your patience sometimes, right? You're like getting here today was like, okay, I got to be on time because often wind up being late. And I left and I thought, we got to get down to the bus stop. And we got to the bus stop and it was like, oh, somehow the bus is 10 minutes. And then I thought, well, I'm really early. This is good. But then I was frustrated because I left earlier than I needed to, It's like, wow, no matter what you do, the opportunity is there to get frustrated. Patience is the ability to remain calm while waiting, enduring difficulties, or dealing with frustrating situations without becoming, again, annoyed or anxious. I really appreciate the other side of what patience looks like because it's a clear sign of when I'm not being patient. Like, am I actually getting annoyed? Like, how to find that space where things can not be happening according to the timeline of my anticipation, but I'm just like not frustrated. While at the same time, usually if you, like, let's say at work, you have a deadline. Like things have to get done at a certain time. Or even here in the temple, we have the deities upstairs, we worship the deities, and the schedule is very strict. Like, every morning for how many years has the temple been, Radha Govinda?
Almost 60.
Probably less than that, but yeah, like that. So let's say 60 years, those curtains open at like 7:30 a.m. every day, 365, no days off for Christmas, New Year, nothing. It's like clockwork. And so how to like make sure things still happen without feeling like, that bubbling up of anger or complete anxiety. And just being patient. So my question is, what does this mean to you or for you? If you'd be willing to share, what does it mean just listening and talking a little bit about this concept or idea of patience? Who here is feeling like, I love it because I got it. I'm okay with it. I feel like I'm a patient person. Or who here is kind of feeling like just anxious that we're even talking about it? Yes. And Teresa, right? Okay. Okay. Okay.
What depends on the situation, it helped me to look, okay, why am I having anxiety? And most of the time, I am a control freak sometimes.
A what freak? A control freak. Okay.
Like I like things done my way sometimes.
Anyone can agree with that? Anyone likes things their way? Anyone who's like, I don't care how it happens, just let it happen. A few people? Okay. I love that. Yes, go ahead.
But as I continue like growing spiritually, I'm learning to allow things to happen. And when I find the anxiety happening, I just say, I go to the beach, I'll go ride my bike, and it helps me to allow whatever's supposed to fall in place, fall in place. And I would say 98% of the time when I do that, things always work out better for me.
Okay.
Allow it to fall in place.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and opening up and being vulnerable. So what I got from that was you have a sort of a mechanism for dealing with recognizing. First of all, you actually recognize when it comes up. And then you think, okay, I just need to let go, get out into nature, breathe some fresh air, listen to some waves, crash on the beach, listen to some birds in the trees, and be around water, I think you said, and just be with the fact. Like I met someone earlier today, yes, and he said to me, I'm just trying to learn to be. And I was like, I got it. That's good. I appreciate that. Okay. Anyone else? What does this mean for you? Yes. And remind me your name again?
Zudakai.
Zudakai. Yes. Okay, Zudakai.
So, um, patience to me means delayed gratification.
Okay.
Because I guess you can either get the quick gratification, but if you wait for the delayed gratification, it's always better than the quick things in life. That takes patience in order to delay the gratification of things. And then, yeah, it was funny because I played music on the train. So on my way here, I ran into somebody who had seen me before, and we were literally talking about the situation. But he was like, "You must learn a lot about taking no's by playing music on the train."
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Every no brings me closer to a yes." So that's what when you're patient and you know that if you're patient, something good's gonna come. Then
Beautiful.
if you understand that, then it works.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like this delayed gratification. It's interesting. We'll discuss something in a moment. Actually, I better hurry up because time's running out. Um, yeah, about this. Even with that, it means there's still an anticipation, obviously, of that thing coming. And then, of course, how many no's? How many days could you play on the train? How many weeks could you play on the train with all no's? How many years could you play on the train with all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but that delayed gratification, not the instant thing, but that delayed thing is like a principle from the Bhagavad Gita, which explains that instant kind of gratification is like like nectar in the beginning, but poison in the end. It's like you get it now and you think, yeah, but then later you have to suffer. But delayed gratification means you put the suffering, it's like poison in the beginning because you have to wait, but it's like nectar in the end because there's usually more longevity with it. It's more substance to it. So beautiful points. I'm going to move on, although when I give talks, I really like to keep it interactive so that I get to hear from you because I learn more that way. And really, this is all about me. It doesn't have anything to do with any of you guys anyway. So a little self-assessment. You can do this kind of in your own time. But just to think, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level of patience, where are you with your patience? Where are you? Would you be like a 4 or 5? Or are you like, no, I'm a good 8, 9, 10, I'm happy with the no's. I can keep playing, it's good for me. I'm all right. I like this. And people are in that space. And I really like that. There are different people. People are different. This is something we don't get. A friend of mine recently, he recommended a book to me called Surrounded by Idiots. And he said, you need to read this because this is the way you think. And I thought, wow, you know me so well. And you read the book, and it's because we often think that everyone should think like me. And then when they don't, we think they're a bunch of idiots. So like that. And what causes your impatience or patience? Again, just a little internal reflection. What are the triggers? What are those things that trigger you to either be impatient or, I really appreciated what Teresa said. She really talked about how she could generate patience. She knows I need to break this and go somewhere else and just be in that space where I allow things to work out. So this is really beautiful. So this is for you. We could get into it, but we don't have so much time. Perseverance. What does perseverance mean? Yes, Michael.
To push through regardless of the difficulty.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Push.
I'm going to have to quote David Goggins. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.
I don't know who that is that you're quoting, but who's this?
He's a marathon.
It's like tough.
I mean, I'm not if you don't know who he is,
Okay, yeah. But anyway, it's great. I got it. Probably my wife would do. She likes to run marathons. Is he like a mega marathon runner or something?
Incredible.
Okay, David Goggin.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as I say that name, she'll be like, you don't know who that is? I'll be like, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I got it.
Quote that's important.
Okay. And the quote again is, don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. Reminds me of what a good friend of mine used to say. He used to say, sleep when you're dead. But that was because we were partying a lot, I was like, dude, I'm so tired. He's like, sleep when you're dead, man. I'm like, okay, let's go. Of course, we almost died a lot of times. So here's some textbook definite persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. And continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. So I like this perseverance, what you said, David Goggins. I have to look that up, put that on here. Yeah. So, perseverance, what does it mean for you? What does it mean? Where do you get stopped? Do you get stopped? Maybe you don't get stopped. Maybe you just keep going. No matter, maybe you don't stop when you're tired or when you're upset or when you're frustrated or burned out or someone says no 50 times. Is it the 108th time someone says no that you're like, I'm getting the heck off this train, Where is it that we get stopped? What are the triggers for stopping us? Who is it? Who is it in our life that could stop us in our tracks every time? Your children. And she says that like shaking her head. Yeah, somehow, that I was thinking for some of us, it might be our parents. No. Or the boss or a teacher or even someone. Maybe it's no one for some of you. But for some people, it's definitely, there's a person that everything's going great until they walk in the room. And then I get deflated or I feel something and I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what, that kind of thing. So anyway, again, just some introspection around this idea of perseverance. And again, some self-assessment on a scale of 1 to 10. Where would you see yourself with perseverance? Do you keep going? Or is there a little bit of a lethargy? Everyone knows what lethargy is? So we can be a little lethargic. Anyway. Because patience can also, although sometimes we may say I'm being patient, but we may be being lethargic. And where's the balance with that, right? Like, I had a good friend, he was like, it's cool, man, just chill out. It's like, dude, your whole life is passing by right now. It's like, maybe you need to do something. He's like, it's okay, don't worry. He's like what they call a couch surfer. I was like, okay. And yeah, what causes you to give up or forge forward? What are those triggers? What are those things that really make me stop or inspire me to keep going? Maybe it's a quote. Maybe it's this personality. God, I just forgot his name. What is it? Goggins. Goggins. Maybe it's, I read that quote, or I get out a book, or I think someone was saying earlier, they sometimes get out a book and they'll just read a quote and it's like, yeah, or you listen to a certain person speak, and he motivates you, inspires you to just keep going, So there's a story, and anyone's heard this story about the man that God told to push the rock? Anyone knows that story? Yeah, so there was a man, and he was woken up in the middle of the night, and God appeared to him, and like a vision, his whole room was lit up, and he said to him, I have some service for you. And he was like, what is it? And he said, there's a huge boulder outside, and I want you to go, and every day I want you to push that rock. And it was against a hill, like going up this hill. And he said, I want you to go and push that rock every single day. And so the man said, okay, and he did it. And he was going out and he was doing it, and he was doing it for quite some time, probably more than a couple of weeks, like several years, in fact, he was pushing against this rock. And he started to think, this rock isn't going anywhere. And I think I'm starting to waste my time. And that was the perfect opportunity for, from the Christian perspective, Satan to enter, from the Vedic perspective, Maya to enter. And immediately the mind started to take care, bye-bye. Sorry, I hope I didn't say anything wrong. Okay. No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye. And then Maya entered and started to say, yeah, I think you're really wasting your time, What's the point of all this? Why do this, It's pointless. You're just pushing this big rock for no reason. And so he started to get into that mindset and think, anyway, maybe I'll push it tomorrow. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do this. And then he decided, no. Now is the time where I need to enter into some deep prayer, some deep meditation. And he entered into this prayer and he was praying, why, God, why have you got me pushing this rock? It's not going anywhere. It's been many years I've been doing this. Nothing's happening. I don't feel successful. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, And God spoke to him. And God said, I never told you to move the rock. I just told you to push it. Every day, push it. And he said, and you've been doing that. And that's success because you're doing exactly what I asked you. So you shouldn't become deterred. He said, and you say you're not being successful, but look at your arms. How much stronger you become. Look at your legs. Now you're capable of doing so many things you couldn't do before. He said, but because you push the rock every day when I ask you to, The goal wasn't necessarily what we think it is sometimes. You know, like they say, the point of the journey isn't to arrive. The point of the journey is the journey. So the point was to just push the rock. It wasn't actually to move it. But we think sometimes the goal is a certain thing. But God may have a different plan for us. So in that way, then God said, but it's okay. Now that you've tried so much and you've reached out to me in prayer, it's okay. I'll move that rock for you. So like that, ultimately, sometimes it isn't us that does the moving anyway. We have to endeavor, but the result is up to God ultimately. Because we're not so mighty. Although we think we are. But, and your man who runs mega marathons, Goggins, and any moment it could all be taken away,
Yeah.
from any of us. It will be.
Moment it will
Yeah.
be.
Like there's a story of this man, he beat cancer. He was like one of the first people to beat cancer by juicing and diet and so many things. And he went on tour and he was like the healthiest man, considered like the healthiest man. And then one day after giving a talk to like 2,000, 3,000 people, he walked outside, stepped off the curb and got hit by a bus. And it was like, the healthiest man in the world is no longer. So it's not sometimes the things that we think. Anything can happen. And Srila Prabhupada, our wonderful teacher, he gives this example in the book called The Nectar of Instruction, which talks about a few of these qualities. And he says, just like a young lady, she may, after getting married, she may want to have a child. But it's not like you can decide, I want to have a child, and then it's like there. You have to go through a process. And that's part of the situation, that there's a process often to all of these things. And Goggin didn't just start running marathons. He had to start by doing I know when I started doing some running, it was just a walk run, walk for 1 minute, run for 1 minute, and do that for 15 minutes.
It was a quarter mile and then he gave up.
Yes. Okay.
He ran a quarter mile and gave up.
Yeah.
So the story goes.
So like that, I think I use this app called Couch to 10K in 13 weeks or something like that. And it
10K?
worked. Yeah.
Okay.
I ran a half marathon. I didn't do it very successfully.
More than 10K.
Yeah. But it started with a 10K. Yeah. Which is how many miles?
Yeah, anything over 10K starts with 10K.
Yeah.
It's about 7.
7 miles. 7.23. So these terms that are given in this book, Nectar of Instruction, these are 3 terms that are very similar and all very related. Utsahan, Nishchayad, and Daryat. And for me, I think that these 3 are vital for the development of, or synonymous with, perseverance and patience. Enthusiasm. The idea that nothing, Srila Prabhupada says, nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. Means you're not going to persevere in doing something unless you have some enthusiasm about it. You have to be enthusiastic, utsahan. And if we're not enthusiastic, it's going to be really hard. Like for me, getting through school was really difficult because I just wasn't enthusiastic about it. I didn't feel anything for it. So we have to have some taste. And it's the same, we'll persevere if we have some enthusiasm. And also we may have a tendency to be a little bit more patient, waiting for the delayed gratification if we have some enthusiasm.
10K is 6.2.
Okay, you're
I was wrong.
And confidence, nishchayad. These are the Sanskrit word. Nishchayad.
I was just repeating.
Yeah, nishchayad. It means confidence. Now, interesting thing is on the spiritual platform, the tendency is we may be confident in ourselves, right? But actually, nishchayad, Srila Prabhupada says, is not confidence specifically in our capability, but confidence that God will help me. I'm confident that God will help me, which is a really interesting concept that a lot of people don't talk about who are success gurus. They talk about believe in yourself without really even knowing what the self is, maybe, or discussing what is the real self. Like, who actually am I? Because I'm not this body. This body can break down at any moment, as we were just discussing. But to have confidence that God will help me, that Krishna will help me. So that's real confidence. And if you have confidence that God is on your side, then patience and perseverance kind of also become a little bit of an automatic. Because the plan of the Lord may take a little bit longer than, because he thinks in terms of eternity. I think that I need it to happen as soon as possible. But he's thinking with a longer term, longer plan. And then the last one is daryat, which is patience. That this is also required, so like that. So Srila Prabhupada says, determination means that one has to continue with patience and perseverance. Your perfection is then guaranteed. So like that, these two qualities, patience and perseverance, means that perfection, our perfection, and what does that mean, our perfection? It means our spiritual perfection. It means we apply these qualities to our spiritual process, our spiritual path. And we have to be patient. Most important, we have to be patient with other people, but most important, we also have to be patient with ourselves. You know, it's like sometimes it's like we have to be able to say to someone that I've got a sign around my neck that says work in progress. Be patient. It's a work in progress. So Srila Prabhupada, he said it's like achieving perfection is like being in the shower when you're really dirty. And like someone opens the curtain and says, you know, are you clean yet? And you're like, I'm working on it, man. Close the curtain. So it's like, we're trying to get clean. We're in the process, or we're in the hospital trying to get well because we're a little sick. So it's a work in progress. So we have to be patient with ourselves. Anyone here has a tendency to get, okay. I'm working on my patience. It's okay. So anyone here has a propensity to get frustrated with themselves sometimes? Yeah. Okay. So we have to be patient and persevere. And then Prabhupada gives this nice achapalam. Determination means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination. So like that chapalam. So again, this idea of being determined is the same as perseverance. We have to be determined to keep going, to keep trying, and not become agitated if we have a failure, if there's some failure. Failure is natural. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that every single endeavor is by some mistake, yes, some fault. By design. Yeah, by some fault. There's always some fault in whatever we do. There's always some mistake, but we carry on. And then this last quote.
Which chapter?
Which chapter? What? Every endeavor is covered by some fault. Yes.
It's the 18th chapter.
Yes.
I believe 40. One of the verses 40 in the 40s. One of those verses.
Okay. Well, 42 starts the Varnas.
As smoke is covering fire.
Okay. We'll look it up and let you know. So, and the last one, determination means continuing to practice Krishna consciousness with patience and perseverance. If one does not immediately attain the desired results, one should not think, oh, what is this Krishna consciousness? I will give it up. No, we must have determination and faith in Krishna's words. So this is Prabhupada speaking in the book called The Path of Perfection. So again, this determination, patience, perseverance, and working through whatever challenges we may have, because the fact of the matter is that there are always going to be some challenges. Life that's just what it is. And resistance is what builds muscle. If you don't create resistance, then the muscle atrophies. It actually doesn't increase. But when there's resistance, the muscle gets stronger. And once Srila Prabhupada was challenged by someone, and they were saying that they mentioned that sometimes people are like coal, coal, like you burn coal. And he said, yes, but I am applying pressure. And under pressure, coal becomes diamonds.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Yeah. So under pressure, what may be something that seems, not so nice becomes something very beautiful. So like that.
Yesterday, Darshan gave class for Soul Talks, and he was talking about his mother going through cancer and passing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's as if he was like, all the reading of the books, it's like he was putting food in his mouth. But now comes this, here's the digestion. The pressure was forcing the digestion. He said, I felt like I was just putting food in my mouth for years, but now I actually had to digest it. And it's like he said the philosophy came to life in that pressurized situation.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, it's not beautiful. It's a challenge. Yeah. Life will confront us, but we have to be patient. And we have to persevere. Like that. Yes, sir. I'm so happy you're going to say something. I've been waiting.
I want to make one comment.
Yes, sir.
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yes.
He was one of the greatest human beings that ever lived.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is what he said. He said, he who can control himself could control the world.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge for us is to work on ourselves so that we become the best version of ourselves.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Nice contribution. Yeah, self-control is not an easy thing. Yes?
I just read that same quote by Bhakti Thakur, who is Prabhupada's guru's guru. It's about 200 years back. He said the exact same thing Bruce Lee said.
Maybe Bruce Lee got it from
Bhakti
Thakur.
West Bengal.
I think Bruce Lee came a little bit later. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess you need to really be disciplined and really control your senses in order to practice that martial art. It's not easy. It's kind of like they have to, part of their practice is kind of like yogis. In addition to the physical, they also have to develop their prana and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, yes, and the goal though isn't just to control our mind and senses. I mean, that's part of the process, but to what end? We have to ask, what is the goal of all of this control? So, I mean, Bruce Lee said, if you can control your mind, you can control the world. Yeah, but then what is the goal of that? You understand? Because one can become very self-controlled, but if it's hypothetically, and I have a lot of respect for Bruce Lee, but if I just learn to control my mind and senses so that I can fight strongly or chop a piece of wood in half or a large piece of wood, or catch a fly with some chopsticks, what is the goal of that? Do you understand? What is my ultimate goal? Our goal isn't just to control our mind and senses, although a natural repercussion of bhakti is that the mind and senses become controlled. Does that make sense? Because we can become so many things great by just controlling the mind and senses, but are we cultivating a higher consciousness? Because this body ultimately is going to give up at some stage, you know. And then who am I? Then where am I? Then what am I? What has all my effort been for? Like that. Someone raised their hand, or are we going to finish? Yes.
Yeah, it seemed like yeah, I was gonna say something. You kind of finished on. It kind of puts a finite amount on perseverance and
Patience.
patience when the goal you're looking to is outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Like lifting a rock.
Yes. Yes.
If your goal is to lift the rock, rather than do the action of lifting the rock, then when it doesn't happen, then that has an effect. Right?
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Patience and perseverance, just for patient and perseverance sake, is not the goal. But when applied to spiritual life for the end purpose of developing ourself, our true self, then these qualities have true potency and true purpose. Otherwise, in themselves, they're nice. You're a very patient person, but, on the way to hell, or patiently waiting for some difficulty to come, so like that. But, okay, I think I've gone way over time, as per usual. Thank you very much. So we're going to have a little kirtan.
Thank you, Nitai. Very nice.